Good kids out there, very good. The bad ones are very bad. Can anybody deny that?
This is why I train in martial arts.
Where them kicks at? Where them hands? Where them holes? Where them throws? You know what I'm saying? Cecil.
This lighting is making me look like a genie. It's like I'm glowing up here. I'll get it down eventually. But that was Lieutenant Colonel Grossman. I believe his name is David Grossman. Yes, Lieutenant Colonel Dave Grossman. He's done special forces, and I think he was a Ranger, and he trains police officers on the use of force. But we civilians don't have an equivalent of that I know of, so I like to borrow from the forces of people that deal with law enforcement, deal with military, and see if I can bring that wisdom to us in our daily lives. Now, we can't necessarily grab everything that's in his bag of tricks because we don't have the authority that law enforcement personnel have. But there's one thing that we can do is we can learn how to study a martial art so that we can protect ourselves empty-hand. And for those of us who are interested in carrying a gun, which I'm not, we could prevent situations or help in situations like what I'm going to show here that he's talking about.
I was in Hartford, Connecticut on the day of the Sandy Hook massacre in Sandy Hook Elementary School in Newtown, Connecticut. I had 200 Connecticut cops in my class that morning. I told them what I've been telling cops for years, that we're going to see elementary massacres. Then Sandy Hook happened. Now look for two things, and this is where the bad man is coming. Look for two factors. Number one, nobody in this building has a gun. We promise by law, nobody in this building has a gun, and that's where the bad man is coming. And helpless victims who can't fight back. Helpless victims who can't fight back, and nobody has a gun. Right on the top of that list is the elementary schools, yes? And next is daycare massacres. I've been 100% for these predictions every step of the way. I pray that I'm wrong. When you hear about the first daycare massacre, you said Grossman said that was coming. Remember, Belgium had a daycare massacre. Japan had a daycare massacre. China's had repeated daycare massacres. We've raised the most vicious generation of children the world's ever seen.
But let's make it clear, though. Some people on this channel have thought that I'm anti-gun. I'm not anti-gun. I have reasons why I don't carry a gun, because I think it would put me in more danger than protecting myself. I'm going to go over that after this clip.
Good kids out there, very good. The bad ones are very bad. Can anybody deny that?
So let's work on what martial arts can definitely handle first, or what I know I can address by my part-time teaching at community centers. The good kids are very good and the bad kids are very bad. So simple. You put your good kids in martial arts class, they can protect themselves from the bad ones when there are no authority figures around. However, some of the bad kids could sign up for martial arts lessons and learn how to be more effective at being bad. That tends not to happen in my experience. What happens is the bad kids give up early, get frustrated easy. They don't want to follow any rules. And a lot of times the bad kids won't even walk in there in the first place because they think they already know how to hurt people, which they do. And they just don't see the point in all the ritual lies, bowing, the yes sir, the no sir, and that type of structure. But a lot of the things that he's talking about in the clip that I used, he's talking about shootings. He's talking about people deliberately going after places where they know people can't fight back, which is what bullies do. Now, you would think after looking at that would make me, somebody that has a warrior ethic want to be even more enthusiastic about carrying a gun, but I'm not. And you know why? Because I feel like I'm probably going to get shot. I'll be in there shooting at the bad guy, and then as soon as the police arrive, if I get a cop that's afraid of black people, he's going to shoot me and then go, oh, he wasn't a perp? Oh, man, I'm sorry. And it doesn't matter the color of the cop's skin, because we all live in this culture where we are all culturally conditioned to see black males as the enemy. So, and I'm big too. There are people that are just intimidated by that. So I think I'm actually in more danger being armed than not. Now, that doesn't mean I hate anyone. Okay. It doesn't mean I'm trying to create stereotypes. I'm just being realistic. And if you want to make the world a better place where you feel as though, well, what he said is terrible, why don't you work about changing some of the laws? You know what I would feel comfortable with? And this is someone who both of my children recently just became adults. What would make me more comfortable, believe it or not, is if they had armed security guards, armed security personnel who were trained and patient at the places where our most vulnerable people are. You know, at daycares, childcare places, at schools. And in turn, if the children would respect those people who are there to protect them in the first place, I actually wouldn't have a problem with it. A lot of people don't want that because they figure that some of the authority figures are corrupt and they think that the armed police officers, the armed security guards are going to be terrorizing the children. I think in the long run that wouldn't happen. And I believe if you have harsh enough penalties in place so that those protectors who abuse their power are severely punished, that would take care of that. That would probably be easier than trying to undo a whole entire culture that has a perception of, oh my gosh, he doesn't have a uniform on. He must be evil because he shot someone who was shooting other people. You know. So that's why I train in martial arts. I'm not able to walk around with a gun. I really don't have a desire to do that because you have to keep the weapon clean. You have to make sure it's holstered properly. And especially the places where I tend to work, I'd have to go take 5, 10, 15 or more minutes out to check the thing in. And then at the end of the day, I'd have to go sign the thing out and all that. And I really don't want to be bothered with that. But the funny thing is, the places where I do work, where they would make me do that if I wanted to bring a weapon in there, they have armed security. And like I said in the previous video, they have armed security at places where I work full time because they feel like that information is just that important. What is more important than our children? But yet, we don't have the best of the best protecting our children. So I think that's something that you should think about. And a lot of people's fear of weapons. So again, I'm repeating myself because I have to spell stuff out for people because if you say anything about guns, apparently, say anything about guns, defending yourself, or if you say anything against marijuana, or if you say anything against racism, that means that you are in favor of those things because you speak against those things. That's internet logic. Okay. So let me say again. I am not against guns. I don't hate gun people. And I'm not against the Second Amendment. I don't hate people who smoke marijuana. It's because I don't think you should use it unless you have a medical reason to do so. What else? I am not a racist. It's because sometimes I talk about how I may be affected by racism. That's like saying I'm a thief because I reported that my car was stolen. What's the other one? I don't believe in beating people up randomly just because I want to teach people how to protect themselves with martial arts. I'm not eager to use my training. None of that. If anything, I'd like to live in a world where I don't have to do anything like that. And really, if I want to get my balance game on, I could just do some type of yoga and feel like I could protect myself and work on my reflexes. I should be able to play basketball and do that. But some people want to get violent at basketball games. And if you think I'm talking about you with that, you're being paranoid because I'm just speaking in general. So, thanks for watching this video. Like, comment, and subscribe. Please share this with people who like to talk about the martial arts. Check out Anything You Can by Lieutenant Dave Grossman. If you are a martial artist, he's got some good stuff to help you wrap your mind around what could happen if you ever do have to defend yourself. And peace.